The best way to keep a prisoner in prison is to make sure they never get to know that they are in prison.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing good wherever you are. And thank you very much for your time. As usual, sparing your beautiful time, your valuable time to pass by here to check on what we have today in this channel. So in today's video, I want us to talk something a little bit about Christianity versus power. And this is a subject that is being talked about very much, that you might have come across a couple of times before on the internet. And I think it's good we talk about this, have also our opinions on the same, and just continue to learn and continue to empower ourselves, because that knowledge is power. I have a very interesting South African preacher. If you have been in this channel long enough, you must have come across him in this channel, some of his videos on this channel. So let's watch a video here by this preacher, and let's have something to add to it at the end of it. So buckle up and let's find out what is in here.
I came across a certain statement. It says the best way to keep a prisoner in prison is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. The best way to keep a prisoner in prison is to make sure they never get to know that they are in prison. They kept us in this prison so that we think we are not in prison, and we are in prison. In our own land. Just because it anesthetizes us from the pain of our ancestors. And I'm saying icon. I'm calling for warriors who will arise, organize themselves, be smart, be strategic. But eventually, let's get our land back. Eventually, let's restore our cultures and traditions to ourselves. And eventually, let's settle the score on behalf of our ancestors. You have a duty to do so. 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 You can't trivialize your ancestors like the white people did. We have a duty, because the thief comes only to steal. These are not good people. They came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. These are not our brothers and sisters in Christ. Nonsense. These are thieves. These are murderers. These are destroyers. And I have raised my hand and I said, I will echo the cry of our ancestors. I will echo the pain of our ancestors. I will echo the frustration of our ancestors. And I will echo the disappointment of our ancestors. when they see us veering away from them, towards the people that declared themselves as enemies of our ancestors. What are we doing flirting with these people? What are we doing flirting with these people? What are we doing taking the direction of our lives from these people? What are we doing allowing them to invade our minds so much that we forget who we are? And we forget that we come from an ancestry of kings and queens. We are not cheap labor. We come from an ancestry of kings and queens, princes and princesses. Hear the cry of your ancestors. Feel the pain of your ancestors. Be a warrior who will fight the battles of your ancestors. Be a warrior who will settle the score on behalf of your ancestors. That's my message to you today.
Okay, welcome back. So, as you have learned from that video, the hardest prisoner to free is a prisoner who does not know that they are in prison. And the toughest prison, maybe the strongest prison to break, is the prison of the mind. Black people, you have to wake up. You have to imprison yourself. You have to break the chains. This got me thinking about Christianity versus our African traditional society. Because Christianity, in a way, is telling us about the divine. But even before Christianity came to continental Africa, Black people had an understanding of the divine as well. So what exactly happened? What changed? Because, of course, Christianity and the other contemporary religions that are practiced today in continental Africa and vastly by Black people outside of continental Africa have eroded our Africanness, our Blackness, our understanding of the divine. So Christianity basically teaches us more than just about God. It actually teaches us about power. And the only reason why Christians Black people or Africans, I can say, cling to Christianity and by extension other modern religions today is because we have never had quite a positive, clear, and healthy image of the power dynamics. Look at it from this perspective. Our understanding of Christianity tells us of a very egoistic, narcissistic, wrathful God, a God that created you just to come and massage his ego entirely, a God that is all powerful, can do everything for themselves, but at the same time needs you to do so much for them. If you compare this to try to compare this in two perspectives, how Christianity is being taught in Black churches versus how it's taught in white churches. Quite a big difference, even though they are all doing Christianity. You'll find that for Christians, there is a lot more negative energy on what they are being taught, on how they understand Christianity, that God is a God that is here, that's wrathful, that is very selfish, that wants to punish you for 20 years, for 50, for 70, for 100 years on earth. A God that will want to burn you, put you through hellfire entire of your life, just because you did something wrong. And at the same time, we know that we are children of God. Could you get your child through eternal punishment because they made a mistake? I think as a parent, as a good parent, our parents always forgive us when we make mistakes and correct our mistakes with love, and then we go on. But our parents do not always wish to punish us for eternity because of a mistake. Sometimes a mistakes that was done by someone else. Um, it kind of tries to bring in the narrative of white supremacy, tries to elevate white supremacy, especially when the Bible itself, I find it very contradicting, when the Bible itself asks or says that it is okay, and in many instances, does the Bible really portray white supremacy? For example, in instances where the Bible talks about that it is okay for a slave master to flog or to whip or to beat their slaves as long as they do not die. So in the very first place, the Bible in itself is it advocating for slavery? Is it saying it is right to have slaves? Is it right to be a slave? Does this kind of try to put some people at a subjugation point? Now, again, you realize that how Christianity is being taught in Africa actually tries to remove power from people, from Black people especially, that it tries to centralize power elsewhere, not that is not within Black people. And that makes us very passive. We do not take responsibility of anything because there is some power that will work on that. We do not wish to have that power itself because it belongs to God. It kind of tries to glorify poverty by saying that the poor people are close to God while the richest people are far away from God. Kind of try to incriminate being rich to make it look like being rich is a sin. And while we know that those that brought Christianity to us, the white people, are actually the richest people on earth. So they tell us to be poor. They tell us to glorify poverty. They teach us to glorify poverty, but at the same time, they are not glorifying the poverty themselves because they are here and they are looting our resources, making as much wealth as they can at our own expense. There are two understandings of God. We can understand God in his power, but also in his love. Black people try to understand God in his being an egoistic God. He has ego. He's very narcissistic and selfish and wrathful. He's willing to punish anytime and thoroughly for that matter, while white people try to understand God from a patient, graceful, loving perspective. See, that really creates a rift. And that tells us something. Christianity in itself has been used as a tool of subjugation and indoctrination uh, among amongst Black people. They actually, why was it so necessary that upon the introduction of Christianity, it had to wipe out, it had to erode our Africanness, all our understanding of divinity, where while we try to think about it from our own perspective as black people, even what the Bible is trying to tell us, it at some point does not really exactly contradict what divine power should be. We don't exactly, if you go back into history and research on how we understood as black people, how we understood the divine, there is no point in contradiction. I mean, probably it could be just a different perspective, but it doesn't go as bad and as far as dismissing our understanding of God as wrong, as you know unacceptable, totally unacceptable, and a few other things that are there, that are in the Bible, in Christianity, that are really questionable when it comes to a perspective of a black person. I don't know, this is a rather very, very controversial subject, but it's good for us to discuss. It's good for us to be open-minded. It's good for us to use the brains. If at all God gave us the brains, why would God punish us for using the brains He gave us? If this brain was not necessary, I think the same God who gave us the brain would not have given us the brain. But they try to teach us not to question a few other things that should be questioned, because we feel like it is subjugation, it is indoctrination. It's trying to bring things, to shove things down our throats, and not giving us a chance to ask, what is this that you're feeding us, by telling us not to ask questions, by telling us to just swallow silently, is a little bit questionable. Because even in our African societies, we things were systematic. Things about God are systematic. This and this goes to this, and I mean, whenever because you sometimes you realize that as human beings, whenever we cannot explain something, whenever, maybe for example, in a contemporary our contemporary societies today, whenever say science is not in a position to explain something, and then now we try to spiritualize that. And spirituality is should not be mixed with religion. There's spirituality and there's religion, and there is God and there's religion. The narrative that there wasn't God in Africa before Christianity and before Islam and the contemporary religions is false, because Africans knew God, Africans understood God, Africans are one of the most spiritual people since the beginning of time. In fact, Africans are getting less spiritual and more indoctrinated now that they are confused, because we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's correct. Everything is so questionable at the moment. So we're losing track, because we are not the same people we were, and at the same time we cannot be the people that we try to look up to. Yeah, that is what I had for you today in this video. I welcome your views, your opinions to this in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up and share this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet subscribed. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.